Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure review and unboxing, and today we're going to be looking at the Batman from Batman Begins. And this is from Hot Toys. And on the box, you can see it says the Dark Knight Trilogy, but this is from the Batman Begins movie, and I'm really excited to get this one. I got this figure in about 2 days ago, and I can't wait to get this thing opened up and show you guys everything that it comes with, and also break the figure out. And I have some thoughts about it initially out of the box. Have those changed since I had the figure for a few days? We'll find out. This figure does come with its share of controversy from the community, a little bit, only because did Hot Toys do enough to update this figure, or was it just a straight reissue with no changes? Well, we're going to take a look and find out. And there's definitely a couple things I think Hot Toys could have done to improve on this figure. But what we're going to do now is get all the accessories out. I'll take a look at what it comes with, and then we'll get the figure out in the light box. So as you can see here, this is everything that the figure comes with. Display base, a crotch grabber, pair of hands, two batarangs, a bomb, head sculpt belt, a black mask, and a various utility harness. And what this figure allows you to do is to dress the figure up in two versions. You have the classic Batman Begins version, and then you have what's called the First Night Out, when he assembled his costume enough to actually go out for the first time, where he confronts Commissioner Gordon in his office, and he was wearing pretty much the black suit with this harness, belt, mask, minus his actual cowl and cape. So you get an alternate look option for this figure if you choose to wear it. We'll start with the head sculpt, and as you can see here with the sculpt, the paint application is really fantastic, and the likeness is there for Christian Bale. I'm pretty sure there hasn't been one Hot Toys figure that yet they haven't nailed the likeness. This is one of those characters, Christian Bale, where they pretty much nail the likeness with every figure. You can argue about paint, sculpting like that, but you can't deny that this is Christian Bale. So I personally am completely satisfied with this look. It does have a Batman's Begin look to it when he was younger, so I am really satisfied with this particular head sculpt. I think the paint application is really great. The tone of the hair, the color, the texturing, everything looks really great to me. So I think Hot Toys, no complaints on the head sculpt. I think they hit it out of the park with that, as they normally do. Christian Bale's one of those figures that I think they just don't have a problem with it. In terms of the belt, this is the belt that you would actually have on the figure itself. It doesn't come with any of the accessory, and you'll see it on the actual Batman figure, how the Batman figure has like different compartments for utilities and things. This is just the belt itself. Now, take note, the belt has a yellow foam sponge on the back of it, and it's meant to be worn to protect so you don't damage the actual suit. And it has a little clasp here. As you can see, there's three holes, and then it just locks into those, three pins, and it locks into these holes here. And that's actually how you secure the belt when you push it in. So that's the belt actually secured. And then what you also have is two sets of hands, opened and closed, or to grip. And these are the hands themselves here with the paint application. You can see, and it has some texture on the back side to give it a glove look. Standard black hands, nothing wrong with it. Hot Toys always gets hands or gloves correct, so no complaints with these. Like I said, these two are open, and these two, this one's to hold the batarang, and then this one is actually is a little bit like kind of a half opened. The figure itself comes with two closed fists. And then here you have is a bomb that was used. He threw this a couple times in the movie to break open various items, and this actually has a place on the belt that you can attach it to. And you also have two of these batarangs painted nicely, and that kind of like that gold look, really nice. So it comes with two of those. And then you also have mouth plates, and these mouth plates are meant to be used in conjunction with the Batman Begins outfit. Excuse my hands being black. I'm in the middle. I was taking a break from painting my display, so I thought I would film this video. But you have two sets of mouth plates here, and there's magnets on the back of them, so you can actually pop out the existing plate if you want to have some more dynamic facial expressions with your figure. So you have two of these as well. And then you also have this harness kit and ski mask. And like I said, these work in conjunction with the figure if you want to do the First Night Out look. This is the harness set that he wore that he had in the scene, and this is also the ski mask that he wore. Now I won't be displaying my figure in the first night out look. I'm not sure how many people, and I saw some pictures online, and any of those was, you know, the sculpt is so nice. I can't see anybody actually covering it up with a black ski mask. Holding it in his hand, maybe crumpled up, is a possibility. One thing to denote, I just don't know if you have this, if you put this on your sculpt, if you're gonna have any staining on the sculpt. I know there's other Hot Toys figures out there that have like colored scarves or leather jackets, that sometimes there might be a rubbing on the back of the neck that might cause a staining. So just bear that in mind if you do want to use this. Maybe just use it for some photo shoots, things like that. But if you're going to be displaying it in your display case, I really can't see anybody actually covering up such a nice sculpt with this if you're going to do the first night out look, in my opinion. And then finally, the display base. It's a pretty standard shape base from Hot Toys with a crotch grabber. It is pretty nice because it's a two-tone. You have a matte finish here for the Batman Begins with the bats, the orange. It's all matte and textured, but then the actual logo and the silhouette is like of a gloss. So there's a two-tone finish. You can see right there where the light box picks it up. So there's two-tone gloss to matte. So a little bit of a nice look. They could have done something basic, but I appreciate that. And then the crotch grabber. So what we're going to do now is we're actually going to get the figure out. I'll show you the guy's figure as it comes, and then compare it to the DX19, because that was the last also Christian Bale release. And I'll give you my thoughts on the figure, my initial impressions. So we're back, and this is the figure itself out of the packaging. And as you can see, I'm just going to zoom. Right now, I'm just going to do some up and down zooms of the figure, and then we'll get into some details. So when I got this figure, I got the Val Kilmer Batman Begins figure as well with it. And I actually opened up that figure first accidentally. I just opened the box up, didn't realize which one was which. And the Val Kilmer Batman, over the moon, blown away by it. Just as a quick little surprise review, fantastic figure. It's easily a top 10 of the year for me, if not even maybe a little top 5, just because of the presence that figure has. It was just unbelievable when I saw it. When I opened this figure, I have to admit, I was really looking forward to this one. My anticipation was definitely high on it. I have to say I had a pretty disappointing reaction when I opened this figure up. When I opened it up and kind of looked at it and put it on the table and really looked at it and looked at some of the details, I just was not impressed with the figure as much as I was with the Val Kilmer Batman. The Val Kilmer Batman, just standing in a straight museum up and down pose, just had such an amazing presence, and I was just blown away by the overall detail of the figure. And then when I saw this, I had the complete opposite reaction, which is really disappointing because this is a figure that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And when I got it, I just very disappointed with it. Just going a couple things. The first thing that stands out to me the most, I'm going to zoom out as much as I can so you'll see my light box, but I want to try to get everything in frame as much as possible, but is the cape. The cape is the most noticeable thing on the figure, in my opinion. That really needs to change. I do have a custom drape cape on order already, so I will be getting that in. I'll take some updated photos with that on my Instagram so you guys can see. But I'm just so disappointed in this cape. I understand what Hot Toys was trying to achieve. I just don't think that they effectively achieved it. I don't think they have the best track record for capes. The DX09 Batman, as an example, I have a replacement cape on that. The BVS Batman, I have a replacement drape cape on that. My Justice League Superman, so on and so forth. My Infinity War Thor, I have a wired cape on that. I just don't think that they really, when they go try to do wired capes, it's just a hit or miss. Some Hot Toys wired capes work, some don't, and this is one that it just doesn't. For me, how I want to display my figure is with the cape more closed. There are various scenes in the movie and in stills where the cape was so big on Christian Bale, he had it completely pretty much closed, so his whole body was engulfed in the cape. And that's how I wanted to display this figure. And although the cape is very large for a stock cape, it doesn't work with the figure, unfortunately. And as you can see here, like even if I try to mold the wire is very thin too. If you try to mold the wire to fit the form of the figure, it just doesn't. It still wants to expand and be poofy. And I sat here futzing with this cape for quite a long time, trying to get it just to kind of be standard and just try to give me a nice museum clean pose. And the cape just doesn't want to really work with me on it. It just wants to be kind of poofy. As you can see, it's very big, and so I'm not a fan of it. The wires are rather thin. So even if you see how they expand, it expands pretty large, but it just wants to kind of go all over the place and do its own thing. You can't do any flying poses with this. And in terms of any kind of like dynamic poses, there's not much you could do with the cape because, like I said, there's a wire running along the edges here. And even if you crimple that up as an example, I mean, the cape doesn't really hold well. So I don't like it. It's a little thick, but in terms of just, I'm not impressed with it personally. I just wish that we would have had a stock drape cape at least. But as you can see, the cape itself, it's rather, there's wires running all through, but as there's a wire here, but it just doesn't, it doesn't lend itself well in my opinion. As I said, I ordered a custom cape that I will be changing out. And so I'll have some updated photos on that. I'm just going to put this little bat piece in here. It's pretty cool. The utility belt is very, very nicely detailed with all his accessories, all his tools and everything are on the belt, as you can see. So it's really nicely done there. A couple things that I know are pointed out in terms of inaccuracies with this figure that I thought that maybe Hot Toys would change, but they didn't. The clips are just too far back on the figure. They should be closer to the collarbone. The actual cowl itself is long. It's longer than it should be. The cowl on the actual Batman cape is a little bit smaller. If you look at before side by side, it makes it much more noticeable. The emblem is a little bit, I think it's a little too large, if I remember people saying correctly. And also the gauntlets, these are not the correct gauntlets. These are all smooth. The gauntlets that were in the movie had all texture and design in these from when he got them in training, and he just spray painted them. But these are all smooth, so the gauntlets are inaccurate. And the one thing about this figure that probably bothers me equally as much as the cape is the actual body choice. There's just something with the body. It's not full. It doesn't fill out the suit. And by that, as an example, if you see here the ab area and the chest, if you see, I can actually push all this material in. So there's like a big air pocket between the actual body and the suit itself. You can see that, how I can just push all the spaces. This is all negative space in here. This whole chest plate, everything like that. There's just a lot of empty space in there. So there's no fat suit, or the body they chose was just a smaller body. I wish they would have done something about that to make it feel fuller. Like when you go to grab it, you can see that how I push down on it. If you go to touch the figure, and even on the back side, you can feel that there's actually, there's give in the suit. So it feels like, it reminds me of like kind of like a smaller cosplayer wearing a bigger suit that's a little bit larger than it should. The arms have, the arms can come pretty close to the body, but like I said, I wouldn't, the articulation, I wouldn't really push it much because it is an all rubber suit, has built-in creases already to give the illusion of it being a worn suit. So it's nice. It has its pros and cons, but I think for me personally, I'm just underwhelmed by this. Underwhelmed is probably a very good word to use. And as you can see here with this is actually a two-piece right there. If you see in the crotch area, it's actually split. I thought this was all one piece, so just be mindful of that. Now you see the glue, a little bit of glue there also, but there's a little bit of a gap there. I thought this was all one seamless piece, but it does not look to be. So the crotch area, all this is one piece, and then the legs are another. So just be mindful of that when you're posing the figure. It's probably meant to help with some posing, but as I'm not overly impressed with a lot, and I thought that with being a third incarnation of this, I believe this is the third or the fourth maybe, I'm not really sure. I thought they would have updated a lot more on this, but I'm definitely not impressed overall. I was hoping a lot more would have been done to the figure than what there was. And also like the mouth plate, it's hard to pick up on camera, but the mouth plate in person is much darker skin tone wise, which I'm not sure how accurate that really is compared to like the DX19, which has a lighter faceplate. So in person, this is darker than what the camera is picking it up to be. But just as an example, I'm going to get the DX19 and pose that next to this one. This is just stock. I didn't do anything to it. But this is the DX19. I'll move my camera out so you guys can see the DX19 to this one. My opinion is if you have the DX19 and you don't really need another Batman, don't buy this Batman. It's not worth it. There wasn't enough updates on this, in my opinion. I think Hot Toys honestly just reissued this one as a quick money grab, or just to make newer collectors happy, because there wasn't really any improvements on the figure that I can see, at least. I'm sure there's going to be other reviews from people that own previous versions of this that I can do a side-by-side, but for me, I was underwhelmed. I did not have that same feeling as the Val Kilmer Batman. I was underwhelmed when I saw the figure, and it's a shame because, like I said, to note, I was very much looking forward to this one. I did buy it. I will be keeping it in the collection. I am a huge Batman fan. I collect, if they keep making Batman figures, I'm going to get, even like the Justice League Tactical, we'll be getting that one. But I'm just disappointed with this, is a nice way of saying it, just because I was really hoping for it to be more than what it is. Hopefully my mind changes when I get the drape cape, so we'll have a better shelf presence. So we'll see what happens with that, and I'll do some updated photos with that one. I'm actually probably going to hold off on any figure photography until I get the cape in, just because I want to pose it my way. But the faceplate on this one is is lighter than this one, and it should be probably the same color since the same actor, but just that's my thought on it, that the faceplate was darker. But like I said, I think it has a bad body choice, because even when you hold the body, the rubber suit, there's an air gap between the rubber suit and the body, so it feels like there's a smaller body underneath, and I think they should have chose a different body to fill out the suit better. But as I said, I'm just wrapping this up. I was underwhelmed by the figure. I do own it. It's, if you're a Batman completionist, which I guess that's what I would call myself, I'd get every one that they made. If you need it for the collection, I suppose. But if you're someone that's on the fence and you have the DX19, I would just stick with the DX19. That's my opinion. I wouldn't shell out the money for it. I don't see it. I think it might sit for a little bit. I don't see people rushing to get it. But I wanted to get a review out there. And one more thing to note also is the shininess of the suit. There's been people out there saying how super shiny it is. Whoa, it's so gloss. There is a sheen to it, and as you can see in the light box, it is, giving off a little bit of a sheen. I'm going to dim the light down just a little bit, try to give it more of a natural tone, so to speak. But there is a sheen or a shine to the suit, but it's not a high gloss. I would consider it like a low semi-gloss, but there is a gloss to it, but it is not what people are saying online, where it's like, oh my God, this thing is so shiny. It's unbelievable. Yes, the suit was matte, so it is color-wise, it is inaccurate. Yes, 100%, it is inaccurate because the suit in the movie was matte, or a dull finish. So this has a little bit of a gloss, but it is rubber, so the light's just bouncing off of it. So I don't know if anyone's gonna do a repaint on it, but that's just something I wanted to note but you can see even here the DX19, how the light hits it. There's shine, but yeah, you can see the difference here. But yes, this isn't rubber, but you can see there is a little bit of a shine difference. But I personally don't think it's as terrible as what people are making it out, but it's one of those things where the camera is going to pick it up regardless. So it's really kind of impossible to film and photograph this without there being some shine on it. Unless you edit it out or edit it down. But I just want to get my thoughts on this. But as I said, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles. Once again, this isn't something I'd be running out to get unless you really, really, really needed it. And if you have the DX19, don't bother getting this one. I would pass on it. But like I said, definitely like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below. Did you guys get this, or do you plan on picking it up? Let me know. And like I said, check me out on Instagram, MrMomCollectibles.com. I got a couple more reviews in the works that you'll be seeing, so definitely subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate everybody's support, and I will see you in the next video.